It's spring in Los Angeles, 1988. Two bodies, Mr. and Mrs. Hanson, icons in the fashion industry, have been found dead at the base of a cliff, their bodies in brutal condition. But some reports say otherwise. They say the bodies are fine. Some insinuate poison. What's going on? Who killed Mr. and Mrs. Hanson? Is there a dirty cop, a dirty detective? Is it the sun, as they're saying it is, or is somebody being framed? Howdy and welcome back. I'm Mike, your board gaming every dude, and this is Board Games for One. Today we're going to do a complete review of something a little different. This is Killer Mystery. This was sent to me by the designer, Jason Dusenberry. I hope I pronounced that right. Dusenberry. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. And what this is it's an interactive murder mystery. Is it good for you and your family? Each episode comes in an envelope and is filled with different artifacts and story to guide you through the investigation. Also, you'll notice I'm recording in a different setup. That's intentional. That's because this is where I played this. This was a bit of a cozier, I know it's a murder mystery, but it's a bit of a cozier family experience, even if you're playing alone. So I want you to see it as I played it. This is more like an interactive Agatha Christie novel or more modern movies based on Agatha Christie styles like Knives Out and The Glass Onion, or the actual film adaptations of Death on the Nile, Great Train Robbery, not Great Train Robbery, what was it? Murder on the Orient, there we go. It's an interactive version, so here's how it goes. It's like if you were reading the novel, except instead of having a novel written out, you're told a story through artifacts, and you have some story cards to guide you, but you're examining the artifacts, putting pieces together, trying to come up with conclusions to solve the mystery before you go to the next scene. Same thing before you go to the next scene. So let me walk you through gameplay. First thing you're going to do is open the episode and the scene that you have. So I would open up this envelope, and it's going to come with a full scene of supplies. I've got a lot laying out on the table because I wanted to show you certain highlights for me, but let's see what we have in here. So we'll pull out a scene, and the first thing we're going to see is we're going to have story cards. There are different amounts of story for each one. Some are only 2 cards. This one here has got a good 6 cards of story that you're going to read. After that, you've got a research card. It's just a list of the supplies in here so you can make sure you have everything. Then, of course, you have your artifacts. So you've got like this right here. You've got a drink punch card. You've got a newspaper worksheet to help you solve some kind of riddle, obituaries, letters, police reports. We're going to look at all of that. You also have an objective listed on the first episode and the first scene. In this case, the objective is determine the cause of death for these 2 victims. That objective helps you stay on track as you try to figure out what's going on. So let me kind of show you how I played it. I'm going to start with a snippet from scene 5. Yes, there are spoilers here. There's no other way for you to know the game, and I'm not going to actually give anything away. So sit back. It's story time. Say Uncle, scene 5. One day, as Barry is visiting, John glances at the mail and it reminds him of something. Hey, John says to his uncle, we got the letter a while back from you about your trip to Monaco. How was it? Barry pauses for an unusually long amount of time. Oh, fine, just fine. Barry quickly changes the subject. So, like I said the other day, I'd be happy to work with Jack White and whoever else to help get all the affairs settled. Also, I can assist with running the company. I know it has been a little while, but I can shake off the rust. Orders must be piling up these days. John quickly replies, yeah, you know, I'm not saying it's not important. I think it's all under control, though. I just have a lot running through my head right now. Barry is quick to reply in a somewhat sincere tone. I can't even imagine. We are all so devastated. Just let me know if there's anything I can help with. Especially the finances. Okay, so as I go through this scene, I'm like, I know something about all these different characters. I know that John is the son of the victims. He's being accused of murder. He's going to face trial. Okay, all that's found out very quickly, so don't worry. Then, I'm not going to give it away, but there's something about Barry that I found out that had to do with an artifact that I found in scene 1. So I'm going to go back to scene 1, I'm going to lay the things out, and I'm going to be like, wait a minute, I think this artifact belonged to Barry, and I think that this artifact was found on the crime scene, yet it wasn't listed in the evidence that I've got written down here. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to note that down, and I'm going to be like, okay, so Barry's whatever, I'm not going to give it away, was possibly at the crime scene, maybe, but not listed in evidence. You write all over this stuff, right all over the material. I'm going to be like, okay, so I'm going to go back and look at the crime scene back from scene 1, and I know that there were 4 sets of footprints, but only 2 dead bodies found. There was somebody's shoe, but we don't really know who. There are tire tracks, so what is going on? I'm going to link that together there. Okay, I got the story card, and I've got that mention of the trip to Monaco, so we know that Barry was in Monaco, but I've got this airline ticket here that shows that Barry also landed in Miami. It seems like that's where he lived, from Côte d'Azur. I'm probably going to Google that to find out where that is. Totally fine. Use your phone. Look stuff up. So I've got this ticket, but wait, there was something else here that I found that showed that he didn't actually, here we go. It's the airline's no-show list. Wait a second. It looks like he didn't actually show up. Is that the same flight number? That's the same flight number. I'm going to paperclip these together or staple them together. This is all disposable. And I'm going to keep that in mind for later on. But I also found something else in here with some other plane tickets, but no names. These are different flight numbers. And there's it looks like there's some kind of a purchase with the last 4 digits of a credit card for a Visa. I remembered a Visa purchasing something else earlier, so I'm going to go back in there and find that out. Now, we've also got something here of a secret note written between 2 unnamed individuals saying that with the missed flight, Kate and Lewis still remain breathing. Well, did that have to do with Barry? And how is Barry related to Kate and to her husband, who were both killed? Is Barry the one that did the murder, or is it actually John? Because there's some pretty suspicious things about John. I've got pictures of cigarettes here, and I know that John smokes, so I'm going to note that here, John, but I don't remember what type, and where is this picture even taken from? I've got some company mergers between the victims that were murdered, and I've got a name written here that Dubuis. Where have I seen Dubuis? I'm going to note that, and it looks like there's some kind of extortion going on for a certain dollar amount. And wait a minute, I've got a checking account statement between the victims, so I'm going to look for that amount. Is there a $250,000? Wait a second. There's a gas and go for $6.94 on March 22nd. I remember a receipt earlier from a gas and go. There was an incident at a gas station, but was it the same date? I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to look at that. And then I've got this right here. I've got some therapist notes from the victim. Apparently the family wasn't happy, so we've got some tension going on in the marriage between this. Hold on. And I've got more. I'm trying not to give away too much of the story. Hopefully none of this makes sense. I want to see how the game plays. I want you to see that. So then I've got this cool photo here of a break-in. And wait a minute. This guy's got on sneakers, black shoes. I can't tell his height, but he's wearing what looks like it. Maybe it's a leather jacket, maybe it's not. And a couple scenes below, I was matching suspects. There was like 8 suspects or something like that, 5, and I had to match statements to them. I don't know if I got it right, but this suspect seems to match the profile of this guy. Am I starting to figure out something that happened on the same road as the home of the people who got murdered, but it's a different home, which is different from the witness statement who reported it. Okay, that's the evidence collection form. And then I've got a coded message. It looks like it's to a deputy maybe, but it's written in code. So I'm going to have to find the key, which is on the back here, and I'm going to have to decode it to find out more. Okay, I've got a fundraiser invitation. I solved that earlier. And now I've got this QR code that I can scan, which is actually going to take me to a video. It doesn't always take you to a video. It could take you to files. Let me show you a quick clip of that video.
Barry? What the hell are you doing over there? We have a front door, you know.
Very funny. You and I have to talk business. And you know damn well Kate can't be here for that discussion.
Not this again. Listen, I told you no and I meant it.
And that's how you play through the game, scene by scene, adding what you learn in that scene to what you learned from the previous scenes. Basically, you can make this as long or complex or involved or as simple as you want. You could just read through the 6 scenes, look at all the evidence, not get too involved, but I don't think that would really be worth your money for you. And we'll get into how the costing works. Some things that I would like a little different, if you watch it, Jason, I don't know, it's a special request. So I understand with things like the code breaking. Each scene, not every scene has a code breaking thing, but there's a few scenes that have it in there. And it's done in a way that the key is given to you with the actual code, which I get actually for like a family game, so it's not too hard. I wouldn't want it much harder, but I think it would be a little cooler, for example, with this code breaking thing here, how you have the key at the end. Well, story-wise, I'm not sure who provided the key. So that was kind of my little glitch there. What I would love is if maybe in an earlier scene, so say this comes out in scene 5, I don't remember which one, if it was like scene 3 or something like that, there was a partial key, and then in another scene, a partial key, to where you're wondering, what is this going to be for? Then it's, you know, I put them together. It's still pretty easy, but it just makes me feel a little more involved. So that was really, I didn't have much critique. I was concerned when I started this because it was going to be a lot of documents, and there's some reading with the stories, but a lot of it actually happens with not just reading, but making connections and writing all over stuff. So I actually have no critique over the documents. I actually like that. It's reading an Agatha Christie novel through artifacts, putting it together myself, and then seeing if I'm right when I get to the next scene. Nothing is directly, completely answered yet. I'm going to have to get to season 2 for that, but you have my attention. And I really enjoyed it enough that I went through all 6 scenes. And honestly, I would keep going. So, then that comes to, would you enjoy playing this solo? Absolutely. If you're someone who enjoys going to the movies alone, you would probably enjoy this. Now, for myself, I would enjoy it alone. I think I would actually enjoy it most with one other person. So I looked it up. I did as much research as I could on this. So I found that there's a Facebook group for Killer Mystery. And recently, they actually had like a community dinner night or something like that, where you got together to discuss the theories at the end of episode 1. Now, I missed it, but I saw there was attendance for it, actually. So that actually looked pretty cool. So if I did this solo, I would be joining that Facebook group, and I would probably be involved with those evenings, because I think that actually kind of sounds like a good time. Grab some whiskey, grab some tea, whatever your drink is, and enjoy bouncing theories off of each other. So what I see this doing is building kind of a murder mystery community that you can play by yourself at home or with someone that you're close with. Kind of like following true crime podcasts as they are investigated, and people will have like an episode where they catch up to discuss theories on where things are going, will this be solved or not, except this is a little more tasteful. Not there's anything wrong with that, because this is fiction as opposed to someone's real life. If you enjoy seeing full reviews like this, also be sure to like and be sure to subscribe, not just for more reviews, but do top 10 lists, playthroughs, and tutorials, as well as an occasional ridiculous discussion. Good job with the artifacts. I like your airplane, and I like the coin that I had to figure out what on earth is this all about, and now I think I know. I like the photographs. I'm totally fine with it. Your evidence collection forms. Quality of the paper, it's fine. I tested spilling stuff on it, no problem. It's a nice, decent quality. No issues with that. When they're cards, it's a good stock. When you've got invitations, it's like an actual invitation. I appreciate that. There was one scene where there was a QR code and it led to a series of files. Now that was cool. I didn't understand if I was reading like a deputy or detective series of files, because some of them seemed like they could have been printed out and just been hard copies for that scene. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. That was one, I wouldn't necessarily call it a negative, but I was unsure why there was a digital files as opposed to printed out hard copied for that scene. Story is solid. At first I wasn't sure I was going to be invested in these characters. I'm very invested in John and in his sisters and finding out about the victims and their marriage and the whole therapy. It's cool. And then of course that detective. I am very interested in what on earth he is up to. Okay, so now that you see the mess on the table, because this is what it looks like, into the pricing thing so you can know if this is for you or not. And then finally, would I actually recommend this? Am I going to put myself on the line to actually recommend it and risk somebody trusting me? So the way the pricing works, you either do monthly subscription or you buy the season all at once. So monthly subscription is about $39, I believe, before taxes and shipping. At first, I was like, wow, because I'm not familiar with this model. However, I looked at competitors doing similar things, and actually the pricing is competitive and it's highly successful. So you get a new episode each month. Each episode has a series of scenes. So episode 1 had 6 scenes. Each one of those scenes can take as long or as little time as you want. I'm probably like a 1 to 2 hour person per scene because I get kind of into it. But you can do it much faster if that's more your style. So if you compare the pricing with the cost of a board game, if you're looking at cheap board games are considered like $35, right? So if you got a board game that month for $35, and let's be realistic, you're looking more like $50, $60 or more for a decent board game. So there are some awesome ones for $20. I'm just talking generalizations here. The pricing, it ends up making sense to me. The subscription is still hard for me to take because I'm not a huge subscription guy. So then there's the option of buying one whole season in one go. So that's a discount. I believe on the site it said 11%. So that would be like $175 for a full season of all the episodes. So you're looking at a few months of gameplay if you go with that option. So then you just want to decide, is that worth your money to go that direction instead of another board game or something that you're going to buy with similar playtime? And I can't answer that for you. But I've been wanting to try one of these murder mysteries beyond the single box ones, so I really enjoy those. You've got the like the Nancy Drew single box mystery that you solve kind of in one go, and I really enjoy that same idea with all of the different artifacts and things like that. But the episodic nature is actually kind of thrilling. So do I recommend this? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is actually a very good product. This is a very good game. But please, if you decide to try this out, do your own research on top of just this review and hopefully you know exactly what you're getting, so you can know this is not for me or that looks really interesting to me. I would like that. And let me know in the comments. Have you tried a game like this? Have you tried Killer Mystery? Find out more, you go to killermystery.com. Again, this isn't sponsored, but I do enjoy it and I will recommend it because I want to see more. Good job, Jason. I want to be an actor in one of your 80s clips, even though I can't act. Thank you for watching. I love you all. I'll see you next time.